We had the full gauntlet of people that were coming forward with complaints. And I think the turning point for me personally was I have two small children that go to our local elementary school, and I took them to school one morning like I do every morning, and about 3 doors down from the school, a house had burned down. In a lot of ways, grow houses are like any kind of unregulated land use activity. People start doing really stupid and reckless things that can impact their neighbor, that can impact the health and safety of the community, and they can impact the environment. People are dumping materials because they don't want to be caught with them. They're, loading up water with chemicals to accelerate the growing process and then dumping that water. We're a very progressive, environmentally minded community.
We read things in the newspaper, and anecdotally you'd hear that there were major problems with grow houses in Arcata, but it really wasn't until there were starting to be some fires and break-ins and other things that the building official went in and we got to see what really the extent of the damage was to the housing units. What we would do actually right after the raid had occurred, and while the police officers were all on the scene, the building official and the fire inspectors would go through and look at all the illegal electrical hookups and plumbing and everything else, and we would do basically a notice of nuisance that would come in right after that. And then if these issues were a serious issue, it didn't matter. What we immediately did was we notified PG&E and directed them to pull the electrical meter. And what that caused to do is you could no longer use it as any sort of residence. We pulled the electrical meter, and by the code, you cannot re-hook up that electrical meter until all the electrical, plumbing, building, and land use violations have been cleared. We looked at a new approach, which is based on land use standards and land use approaches, so that we really looked at setting standards that we could regulate the amount of wattage for lights, because grow lights that people use, and then the square footage that's dedicated to growing marijuana. Not the number of plants, but what is the space? Because after all, the houses are meant for being houses, and it doesn't matter how many plants you have, it's really how much space are you dedicating towards a certain use. A couple of things that you should know right off the bat is that you can put into your lease that I want to pick up my rent check once a month at the house. And so in other words, I want to pick up my rent check in the living room on this date, and therefore you're giving them notice that you're going to enter their house once a month on that date. Another thing that you should do is when you sign the lease, you tell them that, and give them the form, that you want a copy of all the PG&E records, the electrical records, not the bill. You're not responsible for the bill, but you want a copy of the bill sent to the property owner. So therefore the property owner can monitor the electrical consumption of the houses that they're renting. And you should be responsible for monitoring if there's these excessive spikes in the PG&E bill. In some of the enforcement cases, they've noticed that residential houses will have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month or more of electrical costs.
In addition, just knowing and seeing the impact it had on the neighborhoods and people within those neighborhoods and coming forward, and the fact that what had happened with the whole grow operation mentality had begun to take on just this reckless renegade mentality, and without really a care for public health, safety, and concern for others. And really, I could not sit by and think about the risk to the public in terms of fire, in terms of home invasions, no neighborhood being untouched in the city, and the fact that we had volunteer firemen going in to fight fires where all of a sudden there could be CO2 tanks stockpiled.
The biggest concern that we have is that we want them to move. Honestly, just get out of our town. Shut down right now, that's what we want. And so if the law enforcement is not able to shut them down, then the next line of defense is the fire and the building codes. We can pull the electrical meters, we can go in and shut them down immediately. And then if the building codes and the fire codes don't work, that's when we need the land use standards to go in and shut them down more. We want more tools in our toolbox to solve this problem, and we cannot do it on our own. We're doing everything that we can, and we need some help from the state, and PG&E needs to be a crucial portion of that, or other utility companies.
I truly believe that we need to talk to like public utilities commissions. PG&E needs to be more aware. I believe they are aware, but I believe they need to truly be enlightened to what is really going on and how they are assisting by allowing the amount of power being supplied to these homes. There is basically no reason why any single-family residence should be supplied with 2,000 to 10,000 plus kilowatt hours a month. There's no reason for it.
The neighborhoods tell us that the work crews can pinpoint which houses caused the transformers to blow. If you have a transformer that blows, PG&E needs to notify the local building and fire officials so that they can go in and inspect that home to see if there are zoning and building code violations that cause those.
And the idea is to put our heads together to try to come up with a better way to deal with the abuses of Proposition 215 and the medical marijuana, and abuses of the medical marijuana initiative in California.
The people of Arcata, while they are tolerant of marijuana as part of the culture, have had it with the impacts of grow houses.
Some people might say, oh, liberal Arcata, little Berkeley, some people call us, you brought it all on yourselves. And really I would dispute that point, because the people of Arcata are very compassionate people, and the people of Arcata did not want to bring in criminal enterprises.
We didn't ask to be the poster child here on this issue, but we certainly had the makings of a problem, and hopefully we found a path to a solution.